Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is one that I'm really excited to film for you guys because today we are going to be doing my full face of VIEVE makeup. So if you haven't watched it already, I will leave my full VIEVE haul up here in the eye for you guys to watch later on. I had so much fun filming that video because I picked up everything that the VIEVE website had to offer. I've got it all laid out here in front of me, so I cannot wait to try it out. So if you're curious to see how this look turns out, then just continue watching. Okay, so to start off, I'm very excited because I picked up this brush set right here. I finally am going to be trying it out today. I picked this up pretty much around launch time and I haven't yet found the right tutorial that I wanted to try them out, and I thought today, one of my favorite YouTubers and one of my favorite makeup artists, I thought today was the day. So have a look at this box because honestly, this is gorgeous. This is the Katie Jane Hughes and Spectrum brush set. This is the full collection. As you can see, all of the detail around the box is just honestly so beautiful. I love her work. I think she is just one of the most incredible makeup artists. So I cannot wait to try this one out. As I said, this is the full 25 makeup brush kit. On the back, it has a quote. It says, "Taking inspiration from art store painter brushes, as that's what makeup is after all." So I love that little quote. It is so beautiful. And once again, honestly, this packaging is so well thought out and it's so nice and luxurious feeling. I'm definitely going to keep the box. On the top of the box, it says Spectrum and KJH, her initials. And then when you take off the lid, the inside looks like this. And then when you open it up, it actually comes with a towel which is really soft, and it's got a little card right here which has some writing on the back. It says, "I developed this brush kit with Spectrum as their brushes have always been so performance driven for me. I wanted to put my artistry spin on them by taking inspiration from art store painters brushes, as that's what makeup is after all. Use these brushes however you like. The brushes have numbers, not names, so that you can decide how to use them. Have fun creating." So once again, I love that message. I think her artistry is so cool because she loves to mix and match colors that generally don't seem to go together, like dark eyes and red lips, but every time she does it, it looks so artistic and creative and editorial. So I love her so much. I think she's amazing. So here's a closer look at the towel. As you can see, it's really soft. It almost kind of feels like velvet. And then here is the brush set. As you can see, it is this beautiful kind of khaki emerald green olive color. I love that you can see the brushes right through, and you can also see there's like a little emblem right here on both sides. It is super pretty. I'll give you a good close-up look. So here's a close-up look at the brush roll. It is super well made, super sturdy. And then here is that emblem. I'm not entirely sure what it's meant to mean, but you can see it's really cute. It's on both sides. I cannot wait to try this out. So to open it up, all you do is you unlatch the two buttons and the top comes off like this. I love that you can keep your dirty brushes in this one and the clean ones, or you can put face and eye. It is super large and well made. And then in the kit, it comes with 25 face and eye brushes. So I picked up the first 6 face brushes, and as you can see, some of them actually come with brush guards, which is awesome. So I'm going to go right ahead and unpackage these and I'll show you them 6 at a time. Okay, so here are the first 6 brushes going from 1 through to 6. So the next brushes we have are actually 7 through 11 because we actually have 2 of the brush number 8. I know Katie Jane Hughes mentioned that it's one of her favorite brushes, so she wanted to add 2 into the kit. So here are the next group of brushes, brushes 12 through 17. And then finally, here are the last 7 brushes, 18 through 24. So starting off with primer, I've got this one here to try out. This is the VIEVE Skin Nova Instant Radiance Primer. Here is what the packaging looks like. It comes in a cream squeezy tube, but it has a pump. So the pump looks like this. I'm going to go right ahead and take a couple of pumps onto the back of my hand. Here is what the texture looks like. As you can see, it's running down my hand. So I'm starting off by massaging that between my fingers and applying that straight onto my skin. It feels so nice. It kind of melted between my fingers to more of an oily consistency, but it doesn't feel oily on the skin at all. So next I want to try out this product right here. This is the VIEVE Skin Dew Glow Multitasker. So here is what the packaging looks like. As you can see, it comes in a white squeezy tube with a black cap. So once again, I'm going to take a little bit of that on the back of my hand. Here is what the color looks like. As you can see, it's a really beautiful rich gold. So to apply that to my skin, I want to try out the First Spectrum and Katie Jane Hughes brush. This is the number 4. So I'm going to take her straight onto the back of my hand. And I'm going to start applying it to the top of my cheekbone. I can't quite tell what that smells like, but it kind of smells like maybe jelly beans. It's got quite a sweet scent. As you can see, this is super glowy. You can see just how reflective my skin is. I would say the primer is more hydrated, more kind of dewy, but not glossy, if that makes sense. It's not metallic at all, but I would say if anything, this one is just way more intense. I'm also going to put some above my lip and just down the center of my nose. So moving on to foundation, I'm going to apply my Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue Medium to Full Coverage Foundation in 115 Light Medium. So I'm going to start by taking about a pump and a half on the back of my hand. So to apply that, I want to try out another brush. This is the number 3. So I'm going to take her straight into the foundation. And I'm going to start buffing that on my skin. And then to further blend that, I'm taking my dampened Dose of Colors Seamless Beauty Sponge Jumbo and I'm going back into the product. And I'm going to pat that over my skin. And then for concealer, I'm going to apply my Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue Concealer in 14 Light Medium. So I'm going to take some underneath the eyes and up here. I'm also going to take some on top of the eyelid, down the center of the nose, the chin, and the center of the forehead. And then to blend it out, I'm going to try this brush right here. This is the number 6. So I'm going to take her and start patting that underneath the eyes. So far, I'm really liking this brush for the smaller areas, particularly around the brows. It fits so perfectly around the smaller areas of the face. So to set the concealer, I'm going in with my Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. So to apply that, I'm going to try out this brush right here. This is the number 2 brush. So I'm going to tap that straight into the powder in the lid. And I'm going to start setting the under eye. I'm also going to set the center of the forehead, my nose, and my chin. And then to set the rest of the face, I'm going to take that same powder on the number 1 brush, and I'm going to start setting down the rest of my face. So moving back to the VIEVE stuff, I've got all 4 shades of the VIEVE Modern Bronzers. So I have light, medium, tan, and deep. I think for comparison's sake, let's try out 2 shades. I think we'll do light on this cheek and medium on this cheek so we can see how they compare. So here are the 2 shades next to each other. This one here is light and this one here is medium. So you can see they look relatively similar, so I want to see what they look like on the cheeks. So I'm first taking the light duo and I'm grabbing the number 5 brush and tapping into the lighter shade. And then starting off on this cheek, I'm going to start by contouring. So I'm also taking that around the forehead to connect into the cheek. And then I'm taking that by the jawline as well. So there's the first shade, so you can definitely tell it translates a lot deeper than in the pan. So I'm going to take that same brush into the second shade. And I'm going to start bronzing up my skin. And And then here is what the second shade looks like on the skin. So you can see it's definitely a lot deeper on the skin than it translates in the pan. But this is such a nice formula. It is so smooth, so creamy, so even, and is not patchy whatsoever. So I'm going to take a tissue and just remove as much of the product as I can off the brush. And then we're going to try out the shade Medium. So starting off with that same brush, I'm tapping into the darker shade. And then once again, I'm going to start contouring out my cheek. Around the forehead. And then the jawline as well. And then once again, taking the brush into the lighter shade, I'm going to start warming up my skin. So here are what the two shades look like back to back on my skin. So here is the light shade, and then here is the medium shade. So you can see they look relatively similar. I would say the depth is pretty much about the same. Maybe the medium shade is a little bit more warm, but apart from that, I'd say if you're a similar skin tone to me, you could fit in either. The one thing I have to note is maybe the light shade is a little bit more loosely pressed because it had a little bit more kick up, but apart from that, they seem exactly the same to me. So I'm going to take a little bit of light one from the lighter palette and just put that down the center of my nose and underneath my lip. So moving on to highlight, I actually have 3 shades of the VIEVE Nova Glow highlighters. So I have Bijou, Holy Chic, and Riches. I think for today, let's go on with the middle shade, Holy Chic. So here is what the packaging looks like. It is so pretty and luxurious. And then the shade I have here is once again called Holy Chic. As you can see, it is a really pretty kind of mid-tone bronzy shade. So to apply the highlight, I'm going to try out this brush right here, which is the number 8. So I'm going to take that straight into the highlighter. And I'm going to start highlighting my cheeks. This is such a blinding highlight, oh my goodness. I will admit, I think it's maybe leaving a little bit of cast and maybe is accentuating my texture a little bit, but I feel like for how blinding that is super, super pretty. I can't wait to try the shade Bijou because I think that may be a little bit closer to my skin tone. I'm going to take a tiny bit on the bridge of my nose and my Cupid's bow. So for blush, I have all 6 shades of the VIEVE Sunset blushes. I have Pesca, Cherub Sorbet, Malbec, and Piazza. I think today let's try out the lighter shade called Pesca. So the packaging of the blushes is a slightly smaller version of the highlight. So here is the shade Pesca. It is such a pretty kind of peachy orange color. So to apply that, I'm going to use the other number 8 brush. So I'm going to go straight into the blush. The blushes are quite powdery, so I'm going to tap them off, and then I'm going to go right ahead and apply my blush. That is such a pretty blush color. As you can see, it's super warm and kind of peachy. And I'm also going to take a little bit across the bridge of my nose. So moving on to the eyes, I have these VIEVE eye ones. So I have Vanilla, Sand, Camel, Hazelnut, Mahogany, and Raven. So I think let's try out a few of these. So starting off with this one here called Camel. Here is what the packaging looks like. It's a black wand with a gold lid. So I'm going to start placing that at my outer and inner corners. And then to blend it out, I'm going to try out this brush right here, which is the number 13. And I'm going to start buffing out the edges. And then I'm also taking the excess through the crease. So next, grabbing a darker shade, this one here is called Mahogany. I'm going to start popping that in the lower waterline and smoking it underneath the lower lash line too. And then to blend it out, I'm taking this brush right here, which is the number 18 brush, and I'm going to start smoking that out. I'm also going to take a little bit more of the shade Mahogany on the top And using that same brush, I'm going to blend it out again. So for powder shadow, I've got both of the eyeshadow palettes. So I've got the Essential palette and the Muse palette. I think today let's go in with the original Essential palette. So here is what the outer packaging looks like. It's a bit of a slip, so you just kind of slide it off. And then here is the palette. And then here is what the inside of the palette looks like. So you can see there's a bunch of kind of warmer, grungy tone neutrals. So starting off, I'm grabbing this brush right here, which is the number 19, and I'm going into the palette and grabbing this shade here called Lava Rock. And I'm going to start setting the outer and inner corners with that shadow. So next, taking that same shadow on this brush right here, which is the number 21, I'm tapping straight back into the shade Lava Rock. And I'm going to start setting the under eye too. So next I'm taking this big fluffy crease brush, this one here is the number 11, and I'm tapping into the shade Buff from the palette. And I'm going to start buffing that through my crease. I'm also going to buff out the outer corner as well. And then for the lower lash line, I'm taking this brush right here, which is the number 17, and I'm going back into the palette and grabbing Chow. And I'm going to start smoking out the lower lash. So for the center of the eyelid, I'm taking this brush right here, which is the number 15, and I'm going to grab this shade here called Carrot from the palette. And I'm going to start patting that on the center. This shadow is so pretty. It looks like money on the eyelid. It is like literal flecks of gold. It is so pretty. So to help blend those two colors together, I'm grabbing this brush right here, which is the number 7, and I'm going back into the palette and grabbing Cozy. And I'm going to lightly tap between the two shades. Okay, so we are almost done with the eyes. I just want to try a few more shades in the palette. So I'm first taking this brush right here, which is the number 20, and I'm going to tap into the shade So Shy. And I'm going to highlight my brow bone. And then to highlight my inner corners, I'm taking this brush right here, which is the number 14, and the shade Glimmer. And I'm really subtly highlighting my inner corners. So to line my upper lash line, I'm grabbing the VIEVE Eye Wand in the shade Raven. So I'm going to start running that on the upper lash line. And then I'm going to start dragging it out like a wing. And then to blend that out, I'm grabbing this brush right here, which is the number 16. I'm guessing it's a lip brush, but I'm going to use it to smoke out the liner. And then lastly for shadow, I'm grabbing this brush right here, which is the number 9, and I'm tapping into the shade Goodnight from the palette. And I'm going to set that in place. So that's it for the eyeshadow today. I did my best to use as many eyeshadows as I could from the palette. I think Thea and Delicious are the only two eyeshadows that we didn't use. But I've got to say, first impressions wise, it is such a good formula. Super pigmented, super easy to blend. I will admit there was a lot of kick up in the pans, but I've got to say I don't see any fallout whatsoever, but it could be the eye ones as well. So I'm excited to continue playing with this one. I added some mascara, so I'm ready to move on to eyelashes. So I picked up all 5 styles of the VIEVE half lashes. So I think today let's use HL5 Smoky. So to apply that, I want to try out this tool right here. This is the VIEVE Lash Applicator. So here is what the VIEVE Lash Applicator tool looks like. As you can see, it's kind of a larger weighted gold pair of tweezers. So I've got some glue on my half lashes and I'm going to use my tool to apply these half lashes. So I'm going to start sliding the tweezers in between my lashes and the falsies, and I'm just kind of slightly pinching them together. So next I picked up all of the VIEVE Modern Lip Definers. So I have Velvet Sands, Brat, Bark, Rumour, Tailored and Muse. So I think today let's try out the shade Brat. And I'm going to start lining my lips. And then for lipsticks, we have all 6 shades of the VIEVE Modern Matte Lipsticks. So we have VIEVE, Treasure, Coming In Hot, 90s, Power Suit and Muse. So I think today I want to try out the shade VIEVE. So here is what the shade VIEVE looks like. It is such a beautiful nude peachy beige. And I'm going to go right ahead and start filling in my lip. And then I'm going to blend the two using the lip liner. And then lastly, I'm going to finish off with a little bit of gloss. This is the VIEVE Lip Dew Glossy Lip Oil. So here is what the packaging looks like. It is so cute. So I'm going to take a little bit of that on the back of my hand. It has got a massive doe foot applicator. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that on the back of my hand. And then taking this brush right here, which is the number 12 brush, I'm going to take some of the gloss and pop it in the center. Oh my goodness, that gloss is everything. It's not sticky, it's really comfortable, and it's incredibly hydrating. So yeah guys, this is the finished full face of VIEVE. I've got to say I am so happy with the finished result. I love the eyes, they're so smoky and grungy and dramatic. I'm in love. I love the nude lip and I love the fresh cheek. I had so much fun playing with all these brand new goodies and I cannot wait to play with them a little bit more. But I've got to say, first impression wise, VIEVE is definitely knocking it right out the ballpark, because I've got to say there was not one product here that I didn't like so far. So let me know if you guys have tried anything down below in the comments. I cannot wait to see what she releases next, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then you guys know what to do. Please feel free to leave me a like, comment and leave any requests that you have down below in the comment bar. Subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell and drag it all the way down to all to become a part of this family and be notified of all my future videos. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys. So if you haven't seen it yet, I've done brushes 18 through 70, no. So I think let's use, okay, I have to decide this before I do it. Smoke. Yeah, I like that a lot. Never mind, don't worry about it.